Hey, how's it going? Welcome back. I'm Matt. I'm doing some more music production stuff today. As of the filming of this, it's now December, as you can see by my Christmas tree. Last week I made a video about my production workflow in the Machine software and with the Machine MK3. Today we're going to be doing some more beat making production things. I'm going to show you my workflow in Ableton and one of the ways that I make beats in the software. Alright, so what I'm looking at here is just the Splice window. This is just a bunch of samples from a service that I subscribe to. So Splice is just a service that has a bunch of royalty-free samples that you can use to make beats or songs or anything like that. So before this video, I did find a guitar one that I liked, and I'm going to drop it in. So in Ableton, it has read this tempo at 140. Okay, so that's a little faster than I want it, so I'm going to slow it down a little bit. Sure. So I like to just loop it on that, to loop that over and over while I'm doing stuff. So it's just this loop button up here. Now I'm going to mess around with this sound a little bit. Let's see. Let's see if the RC20 is working today. And sorry if you're hearing a lot of noise of the fan of my computer. It's getting old. My computer's getting old, so the fan noise really kicks in, especially while I'm screen recording this, so I apologize if you're getting a lot of that noise. So the RC20 does a couple different things. It does some tape emulation, or just making it sound kind of more of a lo-fi feel. So you can add in some like artificial tape noise or that kind of wobbliness. You can also turn these things on and off. It has a lot of different things, so I'm going to play around with it and see what sounds good with this sample. I don't really like the noise all that much. It just adds a lot of grain, and the more you process things, the further on it just gets more crackly. So I like to usually just kind of take that out. So I took out some of the low end and the cut down here, and I just kind of put some distortion on just the top end. And then a little bit of the wobble, a little bit of space, just to get some kind of reverb on the sound. So here is it without that. And then I'm going to kick it in now. So it's not super drastic. I just like to just kind of take out the things that might get muddy and annoying later. So the next thing I usually do is bring in a hi-hat. So just Command-Shift-T. That'll bring in a MIDI track. And then again, back to Splice. I'm going to find one that I like. Actually, that first one works out pretty good. So again, just drag it in. So I have a little MIDI controller down here. It's just a Novation Launch Key Mini, just a little 25 key guy. And I just use this MIDI controller here to just kind of play in something. I'll quantize it after the fact, but just to get something going from the start. So just recording something simple like that. Then I'll shorten it to 4 bars. Command-U will quantize everything. Come in here, make sure that it's only 4 bars here, and then if you hit Command-D, duplicate, and now it's the right length. And then Command-J, and that will join those two things together. And now and again, I'm going to keep moving the tempo around as I build more things and try to kind of figure out what feels right. So at this point I like to draw in a few extra little hi-hat rolls. Just to add a little bit more texture and just kind of some fun stuff around the hi-hats. The next thing that I'm going to add in is some kind of snare or clap. So we'll try a snare first, see where that gets us. Alright, we'll just take that and duplicate it across our little loop. Alright, and so the reason that the hi-hat is a MIDI track and that one is on a just audio track, because the hi-hats I'm pitching around a little bit and doing some kind of different things, easier to draw that stuff in. With the snare, I'm usually just going to put it in and put it at a set place. I might move it around as the arrangement builds out, so it's easier for the computer to just put those audio snippets in of the snare rather than having MIDI triggering samples on a bunch of different tracks. Alright, now we're going to find a kick. I like that. And again, sometimes I would spend way more time going through some of these things, trying to pick out the best sample for this thing, or for this track. Just right now, I'm trying to move a little quickly just because my camera only has so long to record, and also my computer, again, is very unhappy that I am screen recording and running Ableton right now. This is not so much a showcase of the beat as much as it is a showcase of the workflow and how I move through things. So again, we'll drag in our sample, turn it down a little bit because it comes in kind of hot. Yeah. And here I'm just copy and pasting it where I want it to go. Nothing fancy. Just for a little, something a little more interesting, gonna throw in some open hi-hat stuff. And again, just bringing in something random. I don't like to have them go too often. And now, so what I do with these a lot too is I'll pitch them down. So I'll take all of them in that loop, join them together, and that way I can adjust their pitch all together. So I'll just come over to this transpose button, pull it down until I find a pitch that I like. And turns out arbitrarily going down 3 worked out. Alright, so the next thing I'll do is I'll find an 808. Alright, this one sounds kind of weird. No. Is that? Oh, is it this one? going? Now I don't remember which one it was. The video will show, you'll be able to just scrub back a little bit. So this is really where the MIDI controller comes in handy, because I octave up a little bit, and it's just easier to find the pitch of the 808 in that higher register. Sometimes it's a little annoying, and it's a little chirpy, but it's because I'm finding the notes in that sample to match up. Alright, I found ones that I like. I think they're right, but my ear is not always great. And then sometimes, actually, it's pretty often that whatever kick pattern I have is a little bit of a placeholder. Or I should have done the 808s first. I usually end up matching them together just so they hit a little more. Boom, boom. Also want this to be a one shot. That's what I made the mistake of in the beginning. Why isn't that one? When you draw it in, it doesn't have the right amplitude. Alright. Now I just need to make the kick pattern match that both. Now I mess around with it in all kinds of ways. Sometimes I'll add in some new sounds, some little textural stuff. There's all kinds of stuff you can do at this point, and then I'll arrange it out. This is the consistent initial workflow for me. It's not super complicated. I like to just take a sample, mess around with it a little bit, maybe do something to kind of make it a little thinner, a little airier, like the RC20. That really helps with that. Just kind of distort it, put some air on it, take out some of the low end, and then I'll start building on there. So it's usually hi-hat, snare, then 808s and kicks, depending on what feels right at the moment. Then add some textural stuff like that open hi-hat, and then all kinds of extra stuff from there. Again, depending on what feels right for the song. Sometimes some little like effects samples or weird things. Sometimes I'll reverse those hi-hat sounds. There's a million different things you can do. So this is just one of the workflows, usually my starting point workflow with a beat. I mostly got this workflow from watching a bunch of Kenny Beats streams and kind of stealing my interpretation of that. So if you watch his stuff, you can learn a lot of this. As with last week, please don't judge this beat too harshly. Again, this is just me showing the workflow, not necessarily trying to show off a beat. But yeah, I hope you like this. If there's anything about Ableton that you have some questions about and would like to see me go through, or something more in-depth that I maybe went over quickly this week that you'd like to see me cover more, let me know in the comments. And if you like this video and want to see more like it, hit the like button and hit the subscribe button, and that way you can see stuff like this. I put out videos every Monday on different production tips and showcasing different workflows. And that's it for this week, so thanks for stopping by.